What's up, everybody? How are you doing? We are here. We are glad that you have joined us. Make sure you go online, tell a friend to find us wherever they listen to the podcast. Dobie, tell the people what we're talking about on this episode.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Season 3, episode 12. That's right. Avengers Endgame, Game of Thrones, season 3. Oh, shoot. There's not season 3. Sometimes that happens, you know. Season 8, episodes 3. Crazy weekend for pop culture and movies and stuff like that. So basically, we get into the new music also. Schoolboy Q dropped his project. Game of Thrones had a movie or a television show inspired album with tons of different artists. So what we do for you guys is, one, we're going to go into our good, bad as always, break down the new music for you. Then we talk about Avengers, no spoilers, then spoilers, our top five of our Avengers movies, and then we go into Game of Thrones. So then that way you guys can pick and choose what you want to listen to, hopefully the whole thing, because it's your boys. It's your boys. So sit back.
Ho.
Yeah. Throw up your diamond. Ho.
Two mics, two friends, one show, let's go. Two mics, two friends, one show, let's go. Let's go, yeah. Two mics, two friends, one show, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Two mics, two friends, one show, let's go. The Daps and Pounds show. This is the Daps and Pounds show. Yeah, you know.
What's up, everybody? How are you doing? We have done it. We have made it. We are here. My name is Malky. To my left, we have
Dobie.
Represent two mics,
Two friends.
and one show.
The Daps and Pounds show. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy?
man? We are here, guys.
Give us a little round of applause there.
Thank you guys so much. You're far too kind. We're so happy that you decided to join us in this journey here today. We hope you guys are having a good week. We hope that this turns into a great one. Make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend. Dobie, tell these guys where they can find us online.
You guys can find us on Daps_Pounds, Twitter and Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or you can listen to us on YouTube as well. Feel free to visit our website too if you want to download the episode directly at www.dapsandpoundsent.com.
Yeah, man. We're so happy that you guys could join us. This week was, I think that we'll be talking about this week for a long time, maybe not on the podcast, but just culturally.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it was a huge content week. Once again, there was not a huge hit album that came out that we can spend a lot of time on, but there was Avengers Endgame, there was Game of Thrones. We are going to be probably talking about some spoilers, so we'll be sure to let you guys know when we're going to be talking about spoilers. Although I will say that both of these are a show and a movie that if you missed opening weekend or premiere night in regards to Game of Thrones, then it's going to be really hard for you to
Especially Game of Thrones.
find places that don't have spoilers. Especially because Twitter doesn't really care about spoilers when it comes to Game of Thrones. Movies is one thing, but when it comes to actual TV shows, it's kind of on, and we're experiencing together as a family on Twitter. So shout out to #DimThrones. Shout out to Game of Thrones. Shout out to Endgame. We're going to get into that here really soon, and a little bit of new music as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to start this podcast out the way that we do each and every week, and that's a little thing called Good, Bad. Good, Bad, Bad's a way for you to get in touch with your inner podcast listener.
Oh, wow.
And you can get to know about us. So,
Wowzers.
Good, Bad, what's going on, Dobie?
Dude, let's start off with some bad.
Oh,
you guys
no.
ready for a story?
Okay.
They're getting smart out here, bro. All right.
They? Oh, no.
So, earlier today, goodness gracious, what is up with our thing, dude? Our thing, man. Sorry. I gotta buy one. That's the issue. We've had this, so for you guys, when we hook up our microphones, we have a USB interface. This USB interface is old. This might be 10 years old.
Yeah, probably.
This
guessing so.
like might
Actually,
be,
by now,
it's gotta
yeah,
be.
it's gotta be. Because if we were recording music on it in like 2008, then yeah.
It's gotta be. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the more you guys know. I mean, we experience stuff all the time. So, we were at Target today. Mary got a text message saying that there was somebody who got a hold of her debit card information from the bank, and the bank was basically like, there was a charge for this much as that was declined, and this much as what that was declined. If you are, yes or no, or these purchases something that you've done. She says, she says no, of course, and then she's immediately going to call Arvis, and then she finds Arvis calls her. So she answers it, talks to this guy while I'm doing whatever, because I was waiting to figure out if we were going to have to put our stuff up from Target or not, because they have these really, really nice breathable dress pants that are slim fit that are pretty affordable, so I had to get a pair. It's getting warmer out there. So we go through that. We get home because, they took care of it, blah, blah, blah. And then she gets another call from Arvis again because there was somebody else that was like, hey, like there's another charge for X amount. And finds out that the first person that they were talking to, Arvis never called. And so she's like, what? And then she goes, she talked to that person and then they canceled the account. And then another person called because they were trying to take her to the right department or whatnot. But basically, that first person was a scammer, and Mary gave all of the information to.
No.
So what they do is they text, but of course they've read like all these ways. So when you read it, it sounds very business-like, very professional. What they do is then when you reply, they have a way, as long as they know the banker's name, they have a way where they call and digitally change the number of the Arvis number. And so she's seen that number before, so she thought I was an Arvis personal person. So they're smart. I mean, you wouldn't really know any better, but it makes sense. I mean, that's how you get somebody. It's like fake tweet. Then they're responding, they're available to answer. You call, you talk to them, you think it's from that exact number, blah, blah, blah. So we've had to completely get a new account. It's on a 24-hour freeze. And then we went and freezed all of our credit, and then just put like a fraud prevention thing. So there's like extra security measures on top of that. And then Mary went through and like changed her passwords to everything.
Yeah.
So pretty wild.
Jeez, that sucks, man.
Yeah, pretty wild there. So that's a bad, man. They're getting smart, so watch out.
Yeah.
They smart. So, and she said, like, he sounded so professional. I was like, yeah, I mean, there's going to be people out there who are better at doing it than others. Like, yeah, that's just the name of the game. So anyways, that was a bad. Second, bad, this sound right here. That is the sound of a Sonic ring. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Sonic trailer. I'm glad Jim Carrey's in a movie again, but they absolutely butchered Sonic's look and identity. I mean, he looks like a grown boy had sex with Rocket.
Okay.
It looks disgusting. That's the first thing you think when I said that, right? Ugh, gross. That's nasty. That's how I feel when I look at Sonic, who's been a fan of Sonic my entire life. And what's stupid about it all is they put it on themselves. It wasn't that hard of a thing to figure out. It wasn't that hard to figure out a good design for it. I just keep thinking, what if they had Sony Animation that did Spider-Verse do a Sonic movie? I feel like that would have been great. Looked great.
Oh, like a fully animated.
Yeah. No one, I mean, that's what Sonic fans really want. So it's a cash cow. I think it's going to really, I mean, it makes Detective Pikachu look great. So that's saying something. I'm going to still see that movie. So that was a bad. All right. I'm not happy about that.
So you're not going to see the Sonic movie?
No, I'm not supporting that.
Okay.
You're not gonna trash my man's like that.
It's not my world, so like I don't have an opinion on it. So I don't know what he's supposed. Like I've seen Sonic, but I wasn't playing the games and stuff. So when I saw the trailer, I didn't like. I didn't go, oh, that looks dope. Oh, that looks bad.
I'm showing Malcolm.
Oh yeah, they made him like have like hair follicles and stuff.
But the top one is the cartoon Sonic that you've known, and then the bottom is the creature that they've made. Mm-hmm. Do you see the issue?
I'm not emotionally like attached to it, but if it was something that I was emotionally attached to, I definitely would feel the same way.
You know what it's like? It's like when they did the Super Mario Bros. Movie and they made Yoshi like a literal dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, nah, that ain't it. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And then they're trying to say like his fibers have like power in the fiber. I mean, this no, I'm not. No, not about it. Not about it.
Okay.
So bad. Good. Of course, is just seeing just the pop culture weekend that we've had this past weekend. Absolutely crazy. In terms of just stuff going on. Thursday, I saw Avengers. Saw it again Sunday. And then Game of Thrones on Sunday. It was a lot. It was a lot. But that was definitely good for me, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, it was definitely a great weekend for content. Like I said, I think we're going to be talking about this for a long time. Mm-hmm. I really don't have a bad this week. Everything's gone pretty smoothly. Running low on sleep just because it's a grind right now around my offices and things like that. But it's around the time that that New Year's like hangover is like wearing off. Quarter one in business is done now, going into quarter two, and things really start to ramp up.
Yeah.
So that's a grind, but I don't know if you can really call that bad because nothing bad is happening. It's just a grind again. Good though. So me and my dad just got approved, and we have been talking to a lot of banks and stuff, and we are going to purchase a market in Faraday, Louisiana. We're buying a market.
What?
Yeah, we're buying like a cool little market, and it just closed down maybe around August. It closed down August of September. So like right by my uncle's house in Louisiana. He lives in Faraday. My dad's from Waterproof, which is like 20 minutes away. So we were talking to this guy. Well, my uncle was talking to this guy, and he was like, yeah, I own the plot of land it's on. And I just want to get rid of it. I just totally want it off my hands because we don't trust anybody to sell this to other than people that are like from here. So my uncle's like, well, I'll buy it from you. So my uncle, myself, my dad, and then three other people in the neighborhood. Well, two other people in the neighborhood that my dad and family have known forever, and then this one outside person from Texas. We all put money in, and we're buying this market, and it's going to be a cool thing for the community because you have to travel all the way to. There's like a Walmart, but the Walmart for that area is like looked at as like expensive. Like that's like this market was a market that people could come to that were like low income and stuff like this. So the Walmart that's close to Natchez, Mississippi, before you go on the bridge there is pretty,
round of applause. Malcolm making big moves, man. Hey,
it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
That
It'll be
Nipsey
cool, right?
hustle grind.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're supposed to do. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I'm really just happy for my dad because when my dad retires,
he likes projects.
Yeah, and he told me recently like he has no idea what he's gonna do when he retires, and he's been like physically ready to retire for a long time, but mentally he's just a grinder. He's a workhorse. He still wants to work, so he's been trying to figure out what to do, and this could possibly be something that he does. And it's one of those things that my uncle's down there, and he's in total control of it, and it's really his plan and plot and idea. So if my dad like gets into it and figures out that this is something that he doesn't want to do, me and him can just share. We can just sell our shares, wipe our hands of it, and it's no big deal. So it's one of those things where it's really not a bad thing at all when it comes to our standpoint of it.
That's cool.
We did everything pretty responsibly. So
that's awesome, man.
So happy about that. Good has 1000% been the wonderful weekend we've had with TV, with film. I remember talking to my dad. Speaking of him, I asked him what it was like when the first Star Wars came out. And he, isn't abreast of everything that's gone on. He's probably seen 3 of the 22 films that are involved in the whole long Infinity Saga and the story that tells. But he was like, he hasn't seen advertising like it since the original old school Star Wars. And he was telling me how there was like lines wrapped around like the block for Star Wars when he saw it, and like people would just look, if you looked around the movie theater, people's mouths were just on the floor because they were just like, what is this? Like, what's happening? And so it was dope that I think I'll have something to tell my kids about, like what this
100%.
was for the generation that we're in. So, and we can move on to that talk. We can move on to Endgame. We can move on to Game of Thrones if that was all we had for Good, Bad, Bad. But
You know what? Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go into music first because there's some people who probably don't want to listen to that or don't want to be spoiled about that. So out of respect for you guys and that conversation that we're going to be having, let's hit our new music. We'll get that out of the way for our I said customers.
For our listeners.
Our customers.
Okay, so
And I'm already pissed because I got Tidal again. Tidal pisses me off sometimes with their placement of new albums because I didn't know Black Bear's album dropped, and I already said on the other podcast that I think Black Bear's new album is going to be good, and I can't even defend it.
it's just okay. But
I knew you were going to say that.
But here's the thing. You can go on iTunes.
I know. I don't want to.
It's right there for you.
I don't want to.
Crash Talk.
Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen who are like, why does he keep talking about Tidal? And he get Tidal when he can get Apple Music, he can get Spotify, but he keep talking about Tidal. I don't know why I have that accent. Okay, so I apologize if you feel like you're offended. If the shoe fits, I'm sorry. So, anyways, it's because I have Sprint and I get Hulu and Tidal for free through my phone plan. So, I was trying to cut down a little costs here and there, and that's one of the costs that I cut.
Crash Talk.
Crash Talk.
Schoolboy.
Off the truck. You know what I'm saying? Crash Talk off the truck.
That's an inside joke, but it's hilarious.
Yo, we could tell it. No inside jokes for the Dabbies.
You tell it.
So I wasn't there. I only heard about it.
You weren't there?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I was hitting y'all up like, why are y'all in the hospital?
Oh, we
Because I think
I don't know how to explain the story. We were just hanging out in a parking lot, which we did in high school because we couldn't get in clubs or anything. So, I mean, there's nothing to do. And we were hanging out in a parking lot, and our old pal Crash, he was a bit of a daredevil. We all were at that stage of our lives. And we just started doing donuts in our vehicles. And I had a little Ford Ranger pickup truck, and he jumped on the back of it as I'm doing a donut. And I know he's back there, right? He's back there with a couple people. They jump off. I assume he's jumped off as well, right? So I stop, and I stop on a dime. And when I stop, he goes flying off of the back. And I never saw him land, by the way. So I get out, and everybody's like, oh. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's getting up off the ground. And he's like, no, man, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And he's like holding the side of his head. He moves his hand, and like blood just like comes dripping down the side of his face. And we're like, what? So we had to take him to the hospital. That's in a nutshell what happened. And so crash off the truck.
Crash off the truck.
Crash off the
Crash
truck.
Talk.
Crash Talk, though.
Crash Talk off the truck.
Q. His album is now out. He is a representative of TDE and Black Hippie, and he came with a full length. It's 14 songs, full album. People have been anticipating this since Blank Face LP, and I will tell you that for me personally, around Num Num Juice, I was still there, but around the time that I heard the Travis single, I was like, this isn't going to be a big album. Like, that's when it hit for me where I was like, nope, this is not going to be a big Grammy nominated, album that for a long time I've been wanting for Q because I feel like he could make.
Right.
And I was right. I listened to this and it's not like there are songs that I do really enjoy on this, and there's a few songs that I've gone back to so far over the weekend, but it's not that huge album. That's how I felt about it.
When you say huge, like you just feel like the hype's not there around it? Or
The hype's not there around it. But I will say that I did watch 2 interviews he did for press this week. And it let me know that he doesn't care. And he made a point where he said that Oxymoron was critically acclaimed. And it was nominated for this and nominated for that, but it sold like no albums. And he was saying like that's when he stopped caring about how much stuff sold and like how much hype is around it, because he was like, I don't care, because my shows are always sold out. And he's a festival artist now. He now is in that Vince Staples.
Yeah.
You know, Vince Staples can come out with an album that's critically acclaimed, but at the end of the year, when you look at the albums that sold the most, he won't be there, but he'll sell out Coachella.
Yeah.
And I think Schoolboy Q might be in that lane now. So
I could see that.
what'd you think about the record?
The album, I felt like it hit its stride in the middle, actually.
Second half to me was great.
5200?
Yeah, good song.
5200 is by far my favorite song. So yeah, I was worried about the singles. I really don't like the singles that much. With the Chopsticks and Num Num Juice, I think it was Crash Talk was the track. I think that's the track name, right? Or is it just Crash? It's Crash. That was the track though, where I was like, okay, his album might have some stuff still to it. But for me, listening through it, I'm gonna go back and listen to it again. I feel like I will say this: the material is there, the conversations that can be brought about listening to this album are there. It does feel like a deeper album, not that surface level when you really listen to the lyrics, I think.
Yeah.
But for me, I think people, the majority of fans were like, yeah, dude, Schoolboy Q's dope, are looking for like that Collard Greens type bounce and that song and stuff like that again. And I don't think they're going to find it on this project, but I think there are definitely some bangers. Like 5200, I mean, it was pretty much track 6 is when it like kicked in for me. I mean,
mine was the Black feature and Down. I was like, okay.
I didn't think that song was that great though with Black. Like it was forgettable. I was like, all right, you guys did your thing, but I don't know. I wasn't vibing.
Right
5200
now,
is when I was like,
anything Black is doing. Floating for me was huge. I like Floating a lot. I love 21 Savage. Anything he's doing right now, I'm into. 5200 was dope. Ty Dolla $ign floats on every song he's on right now. I thought the last half was good though. I was feeling it.
Attention was interesting.
Attention was pretty good.
It was a message. It was like
Yeah.
he wanted to leave with the message for the last song of his track.
I will say too that the way that TDE makes albums, you know, they'll have it for a long time, and then these artists will kind of like sit on it and work on other stuff, and everyone knows that SZA's album didn't come out 100% when she wanted it to, and stuff like that. So the way they do things is pretty methodical, and I think sometimes it can be to the detriment of the actual music itself. So in a different place at a different time, if this would have came out a year ago, maybe it would have had a different impact. But right now, I think it'll only impact for the week that it's out. People will kind of forget about it. I don't think that there's any #1 hits on this album at all. But if you're a Schoolboy Q fan, I don't think you're probably disappointed necessarily. If you're someone who just likes him, you know, if you're someone who listens to all this stuff. I say that because Cam is this huge Schoolboy Q fan. Like he loves Schoolboy Q, and he loves this album. Like he talks about this album the way that I talked about the Damn album. Like he loved this album, and so that's why I say if you're a Schoolboy Q fan, you probably think this is good. So
yeah. Quick question, one that I've been thinking of lately. How hot do you think it gets and if you put a paper bag over your head with eyes cut out? And what kind of mental stability do you have before you feel like you need to go that route? With all the options out there.
How hot? Actually, it's paper, so I don't think probably too hot.
Don't you
probably
think though
okay.
that
It's probably all right.
You if you have it on too long, that part where you keep breathing out from your mouth,
wet.
It gets wet, and then you just stick your tongue out through the bag.
Yeah.
But why the brown paper bag with all the options that you have out there, man?
I don't know. I think that I don't know the situation, and I do not know I don't know the imagery he's trying to suggest with this album cover. But I will say that if you're poor and want to stick up a convenience store, you have anything, you may not be able to afford a ski mask, but your mom got groceries with the last bills that she just paid, cut 2 holes in, going with the Yammer, tell him to get out on the floor, give him the money, let's go.
I still think it was so wild that white dude who did blackface and stole a convenience store, try to get everybody off of his scent.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They're wild out here, man.
It's crazy out here.
calling my wife, scamming her, and then she's giving her information, and then there's white dudes doing blackface at
It's crazy.
at convenience stores.
It's a crazy time.
Dude, crazy time. Ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on Daps_pounds, Twitter and Instagram. Let us know what you guys think of Crash Talk. What's your favorite song? Let the boys know. It reminded me of that. When I said that, let the boys know, it was like that Eastbound and Down bloopers. Let the boy watch.
So I'm gonna save the compilation out for Game of Thrones. I'm gonna use it as a transition into that talk. But Pink dropped. Now,
I'm just telling you this right now. I've never liked Pink. I don't like Pink ever since I like the eye coming up, so you better get this party started. Don't like Pink. I've
so
already
you
said,
didn't like the just give me a reason. It's a little
that
bit.
song. I absolutely wanted to stab my
Really?
ears out.
Dude, that song was so good. I love that song.
No, I don't. You know what? It ruined it is because working at Shoe Repair.
On all the time.
I had one of those radio stations where they play like the popular tunes. I can't tell you how many
yeah.
Pink songs I've listened to working there, and I hate Pink. I hate Pink.
So-
I do not like Pink anymore. I don't like her voice. I don't like her tone. Nope, don't like Pink.
I genuinely, generally do like Pink. However, the last couple albums she came out with, the song she did with the dude from Fun, the Just Give Me a Reason, that's the last time that I was like a fan of what she did. And then obviously the stuff before that. But this album coming out and me not knowing about it until Thursday was when I was like, oh, they're done with Pink. Like they're like, oh, they're off. Like she used to be like
Come and gone.
big, like huge, and they're done. The song that there's 2 songs I like, and it's only because of the features, really, and that's the Khalid song and it's the Chris Stapleton song, "Love Me Anyway" and "Hurts to Be Human." I will say "Hurts to Be Human" I like because of Khalid, because I like anything he's on. Chris Stapleton. Okay, I will say that the "Love Me Anyway" song with Chris Stapleton is where you go, oh, Pink can still really sing.
Right.
And she still has a really great voice. But other than those 2, it was a pretty forgettable piece of work for me. But for me personally, she always comes out with this weird song that I don't pay attention to at the time. And then I hear it over and over again, and I start to be into it. And I'm thinking that song might be "Walk Me Home," but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm too biased with her.
Yeah.
I can't.
We all have those artists, though. We always have those artists that we're biased towards, so that's fine.
I'm not biased. So you thought Black Bear's album was just bleh?
It was just blah.
Nothing that you liked?
I mean, it was okay, but it was
dear
just...
God, 19?
Yeah,
Why?
It's 18 songs. Burnt AF was good. Heartbroken was good. The middle was decent. I'll say that this whole middle section here was pretty good.
Just an emo album?
It's just an emo album about drugs. I mean, it's like I've said before, the same way that Bazzi only talks about love and relationships and you want to hear more from him. I feel like Black Bear only talks about love and drugs and I want to hear more from him. I feel like there's no versatility when it comes to Black Bear. And I feel like his voice doesn't change. I feel like he has the same tone every time he's singing. But
Gotcha.
it was just okay. It was just okay for me. Anonymous, Black Bear. But I will say there is a large section of people who probably love his music because I was just talking about Q. He is a festival. Like, I'm sure he could come out and kids love Black Bear. So I think if you're in that scene, you probably like him a lot. We talked about a single this guy put out, Kevin Abstract, last week, Arizona Baby. He is from Brockhampton. Did you see the thing where he was on a treadmill? Yeah. He was on a treadmill for I forget how long, but it was a long freaking time.
It was
to
like
be
12 hours, I think.
something
11?
so stupid and ridiculous.
Somebody said that it was a publicity stunt to help promote the album, but then he'll probably use like the footage for like a music video or something like that.
I was thinking maybe it was a music video, so that makes sense. But I saw that Arizona Baby is out right now. I will say that I did like some stuff on here. I like Mississippi.
Yeah,
I thought that
told
was a good
you.
song.
Yeah, the first 3 songs were more rap. 4,
Yep.
5, 6, those were the singy tracks, and
Those
those
are
were a
yeah.
lot better.
Yeah. I like the singy songs for sure. He's a talented dude. And I think that he could be something, but at the same time, it's gonna take a lot. I think he's another festival guy, but I think it's gonna take a lot for people to get a hold of his image and just be okay with it.
It's gonna take more than one album for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I still think Brockhampton is not really.
Big.
They're
No.
very clicky.
No,
like
yeah.
a click audience.
Oh yeah, they're a niche. They're a niche audience for sure, and I think that they're another festival group that has their audience, and when people know that they're having a show, they flock to it. That California, very like Coachella crowd, that Rolling Loud crowd, they will love Brockhampton, and I don't think that'll stop.
Right.
But
Yeah, but
when
he's
it comes to the
definitely
masses, no. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with you. I did not listen to the Tink album. She can rap, that's for sure. I know that, and I'll go back and listen to it. Did you listen to it?
Tink?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Let's see what else dropped as far as albums go. I did listen to Rico Nasty and Kenny Beats. So on Twitter, Rico Nasty has been getting a lot of buzz on my feed. She is a rapper. She sings a little bit. Kenny Beats is basically her engineer / producer. But I will say she's really different. And once again, right now, she's one of those girls that can really rap like Meg the Stallion, who is making it so these girls that come out with just one image, they got to start rapping again. They got to start making music and being more creative, because just rapping about sex anymore is not going to cut it. That's for sure. So that lane is starting to get populated right now.
Yeah, it is.
Jacob Lattimore, Connection 2. I listened to this just because I listened to the first Connection and I needed some R&B in my life. There's a song with another guy named Trevor Jackson, I believe, that I liked. Maybe not on this album. Yes, True-ish. It was good. I like that song the most. Old Thing Back was good as well. He is actually a actor on the show The Shy, which you need to watch. The Shy would be really good. It's really kind of emotional though, but it's good.
I like that. Hillsong United.
Hillsong United dropped People live. This is their 35th album this year.
Yeah, it feels like a.
From all of the different Hillsongs,
Yeah, for sure.
There's 96 different Hillsongs. But
When you need that vibe, just throw it on.
Yeah.
You already know what to expect.
Shout out to Oceans. Let's see what else came out. Full albums that I listened to.
There wasn't not a ton. We're still.
Yeah.
If you look at the artists who say they're gonna drop this year, we're gonna hit a wave.
It's gonna definitely hit a wave, and it's gonna be Noster. That's for sure. When it comes to Loosey Gooseys, the biggest name that dropped is by far Taylor Swift, as far as the clout that comes with it. It's called Me. It's featuring Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco, and I think it's trash. How do you feel about it?
I felt like it was a good feature. They complemented each other well.
I like him as a feature.
I
like him though. Period.
Heard Zero Growth. I literally felt like this was just a song from the last album, and I thought, yeah, this sounds like a very stereotypical Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
It felt very cookie cutter to me, and usually, in my opinion, she tries to veer away from cookie cutter sometimes, not all the time. I felt like last album she did, but this felt just like I'm making this song to be a hit song.
Yeah. And I mean,
it didn't hit for me.
It's Taylor Swift, so there's gonna be her fans, and it's gonna stream well, and it'll go platinum and stuff like that. But the streets really ain't messing with it, from what I've heard, from what I've seen, and it's just a blah song from Taylor Swift, and I've moved on from Taylor Swift.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Very true.
Darling.
YG put out "Stop Snitching." I'll tell you what.
This song bop.
I cannot say any of the lyrics on this podcast, but it's super hard. Like I love this song.
This is one of YG's better songs he's put out in a
it's
while.
hard.
Yeah.
It's so dope. There's a bop to it
Yeah.
that's just like really good. Can't say anything from it, but it's good. So shout out to "Stop Snitching," YG. Gotta count on YG, man. He's that hood dude that can always put out a bop.
Speaking of bop, Visi Bop?
Vasi Bop.
Vasi Bop?
Vasi Bop.
It was kind of lame knowing what he can do, in my opinion.
I liked it. It's on the gym playlist. I don't know if this is like the big lead up single or if it's just a club thing he's doing. I watched Big TV I forget what it's called. I have like a YouTube channel that I watch that's UK rappers, and he was saying that he wants to start following the Drake prototype of like putting out feeler records. So I think this could possibly be a feeler record. And a lot of people do that. I'm not sure if this is the big single. If it is the big single, then I do think it's a little bit of a letdown just because Gang Signs and Prayers. Seriously, Gang Signs and Prayers is one of my favorite albums, period. Like, it's probably in my top 50 albums of all time. I love that album a lot. So it's a letdown if we're looking at it like that. But just for a record, I'm okay with it. That's for sure. And for those that don't know, we're talking about Stormzy.
Whoa!
Let's see. A$AP Rocky, Joey Badass. This comes from the Game of Thrones soundtrack, Too Many Gods.
Which we didn't talk about, so
we haven't talked
waiting?
about yet. Yeah, we'll wait. Let's see here. Oh, Marshmello, Tyga, Chris Brown, Light It Up. I still hate Tyga. This is a bop though.
That's a good song. Marshmallow's killing it.
Yeah. He's
Marshmallow's trying to be the new David Guetta.
He is.
100%.
He is for sure.
Hey, and Deadmau5 is like banging on his desk somewhere.
I don't know where Deadmau5 is right now.
I was doing this
Where is he?
first. I was the big head DJ.
I don't know where he is. Ozuna put out a record that's absolutely flames. Baila, baila, baila. It's pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a hard song. Don't get it twisted. It's hard. No La Trates. I think I'm saying that right. That was good. It was a Pitbull song, and I don't like Pitbull usually, but it's pretty good. The Black Keys are back. Eagle Birds. I love this song. This Eagle Birds song reminds me of a lot of their old stuff, and I'm happy that they're back to that style. I've heard a rumor that they're going to perform at the House of Blues in Chicago, and I'm going. I'm going to that concert. The Black Keys are back. I'm super excited about the Black Keys being back.
What's the one band you want back that you wish, or what band do you wish would come back?
I wish Rage would put out. Are we talking about rock? Well, if we're talking about
I just
that,
said band in general.
I
Anything you classify as a band.
would like Rage Against the Machine to come back together and put out another classic album. I'd like another Blink album with all of the full members of Blink. I know the Angels and Airways, the one dude from Blink, just put out a new song recently, like today, I think. I'd like a full NSYNC album with Justin. I've heard a rumor that based off of the love they got from Ariana Grande bringing them out at Coachella, that they might do a residency in Vegas without Justin. I hope they don't do that. I think that would be somewhat tarnishing their legacy. Backstreet Boys did it, but they had all their members, and they can still draw a lot of money. So it'd be cool for another NSYNC album. I think that'd be pretty dope with Justin.
They owe one more.
Yeah, they do.
And I would say let's just make it do the Kanye West thing. Just give us like 7 great tracks.
Yeah.
We don't make it like just, make sure it's quality over quantity.
Don't overdo it. What about you? Bands that you wish could come back?
I'm not sure. The bands I really enjoyed listening to growing up, they're still around actually.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure on that one. I mean, if I could pull out a band and like throw them into modern day times, and I would wish Boston would make another album.
Oh, the Augustana song, the Augustana group, or the group Boston, like the old school
Boston.
60s, 70s,
Yes.
80s. Yeah.
Like I was saying, like if I could just pick just a band they're all the same age. They still got all their talent and everything.
Yeah.
And I just throw them in. I'm like, you guys can go back at it again.
Okay.
I'd say Boston.
Okay. I can't really think of it anymore. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
You let us know.
Yeah, you let us know what you want to come back, though, and we gonna do it like that. Yeah, so the Black Keys are back. Lanny featuring Julia Michaels. It's called Okay. Man, if you're a hashtag sad boy, this song will get you in your emo feels. I love it. Lanny, Julia Michaels. I like it. It's called Okay. And it's all about not being okay. We talked about the Stormzy record of All See Bop. As far as singles go, is there anything we missing?
The FKA Twig.
Oh, FKA Twigs. I didn't love that song. I know what you're talking about. I listened to it on Spotify.
I've never been a huge fan, though.
Never been a huge fan. There was one song, I can't remember the name of it, that I liked
Right.
a couple years ago. It was pretty big.
I like their imagery and
yeah.
how creative they are, but
I can agree with you there.
KB, Hold Me Back.
KB, Hold Me Back.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good. So I will always say that right now in that world, Andy Mineo is my favorite. Especially after the last two projects he put out. But KB's really good. I like KB. I
Yeah,
think he's dope.
I like KB a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Gray said he's in his best place mentally and spiritually. And so I'm hoping...
He said that about KB or said that about himself?
himself.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that means...
He's coming out with something
Fuego.
crazy. Nice. That'll be good. It's been a minute since I've been into some new Lecrae. So
I really
agree
like
with
that KB track. Might probably been my
favorite thing that dropped this week?
favorite song because Power is Power dropped last week. Power is fire.
Yeah, my favorite thing that dropped this week is by far the Black Keys track. I am not mad at...
So watch me burn it down.
Speaking of Power, we're going to transition to Game of Thrones and then transition to Game of Thrones talk. Guys, it is here. The soundtrack to Game of Thrones.
Not the soundtrack.
Well,
music,
the music
inspired.
The compilation album.
That's a good way to say it.
The
Because they actually do have a
compilation
soundtrack.
They do.
Real quick hot take. For episode 3, the soundtrack was amazing. The production...
I love
music?
I love the piano part, which is the coolest part that we'll get to in a little bit. But it's always great. I think they use orchestra music so well on that show. It's kind of crazy all the time.
Anyway, sorry, I just had to say that.
No. So we had a 14-song music-inspired album for Game of Thrones. Power is Power we talked about. SZA, The Weeknd, Travis Scott. This song is freaking hard. I'm still listening to it. What's great about this body of work is that there are certain songs that you cannot think of being played during an episode, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those. Like Power. Good song would
Yeah.
fit terribly on an episode.
Could you imagine at the very end of episode 3 and it's...
so weird, right? However, the Lumineers, Nightshade, Ellie Goulding, Holy Crown.
Dude, Holy Crown.
There are those records on this too where you're like, oh, you can see the scene and what you want to happen in the scene where it's like, yeah, that could play. That
Holy
could fit.
Crown is great.
Holy Crown's nuts. Shout out to Ellie Goulding because I love Ellie Goulding.
Or Hollow.
Yeah, Hollow Crown. I don't know why I said holy. Hollow Crown. Absolutely fire track. From the Grave, James Arthur. Like that song a lot. Wolf at Your Door, Chloe and Halle. It was pretty good. Devil in Your Eye, Mumford and Sons. I can see that come for the opening of an episode.
They reached out to him.
Right?
Or them.
Opening of an episode, I can see Devil in Your Eye playing by Mumford and Sons. So that was dope. Ty Dolla $ign, of course, on the Lil Peep When I Lie song, Ty Dolla Sign is great. This one was the only one that I was like, what? Like, it's happening.
Like Lil
why
Peep,
is
I
this
was like,
here?
yeah.
I thought that
Shout
was
out
weird.
to my boy H-Ow.
H.O. was on it. Ex-Ambassadors, who is underrated, and Jacob Banks. And like we said, ASAP Rocky and Joey Badass, too many gods. I thought from a rap perspective, it was good. I think Joey Badass is one of the most underrated people out there. It's always good to hear new rock too. So that was pretty good.
Did you see that thing where ASAP Rocky, I guess he did a thing for Calvin Klein and he took a model picture just in his boxers, but it's only around China. And this dude put him on blast on Twitter. He's like, nah, fam, we canceling you. You thought we weren't going to be out here in China? Come on, man.
Well, last year, him and a bunch of members of ASAP did a Calvin Klein spread, but I don't think they were just boxers. It was like the beaters and stuff like that. And people clowned them too, and I thought it was hilarious. But that's awesome. I think that's pretty sick, actually.
They got to check.
So the Game of Thrones music inspired by the HBO series is out right now. Go get it if you're into Game of Thrones. We're gonna transition right into GOT talk, though. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. Where do you want to start?
Should we do Game of Thrones or Avengers? What do you think people are going to be more excited for? Let's do Avengers.
We can do Avengers first.
You
That's
see what
fine.
I'm saying? I'm just trying to get it so that
Avengers Endgame just came out. It's already the biggest movie ever. So what people don't realize is that just like albums drop a certain percentage after the first week, there's like I don't want to say penalty, that's a harsh word, but your album comes out and there's a percentage penalty of your records can only sell this much after they come out. Well, the same thing happens for movies. So even if you factor in that, this is going to be the biggest movie of all time. Like, they've been able to project it out that long and say, when you factor in box office, DVD sales, the money that networks pay to have it on USA or TNT in 2 years when it gets to the first network television debut of Endgame,
Right.
that whole thing. When you factor in the money that comes in, this will probably be the biggest film ever, right? And 1.2
Yeah, I
in
agree.
3 days,
it's
1.2
at
billy,
1.35 bill.
1.35 in 4 days.
Yeah.
That's nutty, bro.
That's completely
That's mental.
astronomically insane.
I've never, I don't even know what to say.
I didn't realize how much of a worldwide phenomenon this is.
Yes.
Because I looked at the numbers. Compared to worldwide and domestic, we're domestic, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So Star Wars, it's like a 50-50 split.
Okay.
So it's not as big of a worldwide thing. Worldwide, when we're talking in terms of versus domestic, worldwide is smashing the box office records for this movie. Absolutely. If you were going to look at the percentage difference between Avengers and the rest. So I just find that very interesting. I really didn't realize how big of a thing. And that's with subtitles and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Biggest movie.
Biggest movie. So very surface level talk, and then we'll get into spoilers. And I guess if we could, is this our, can we do our top five?
What do you want to do? Top 5 what?
Avengers movies.
Yeah.
I think I could do it.
Okay,
off
so
the- off the cuff.
everything, we're counting all 22 films.
All 22
Okay.
films.
Yeah. We can do that. We can do top 5 that.
So what did you think of it?
So you've seen it twice. I've seen it twice now, and I think that it was fantastic. I thought that it was extremely satisfying. I like that the questions that it left make sense to me for where they're going or could go. And none of the questions that they left were like, oh man, this doesn't feel like an ending to anything. It felt like an ending to something. It felt like a true ending to an era. And that's what I really wanted. I didn't want a situation where it just kind of felt like the end, but you only knew that because you knew the actors didn't re-sign their contracts and stuff like that. Like this, they put a bow on a lot of things, and that's what I was happiest about.
Nice.
So felt like a good ending.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Felt like it was definitely worth going to see in theaters if you
Yeah.
have any sort of passion for the Avengers movies, any passion towards superheroes. I hope it gets people to want to read more comics and stuff, that scene gets bigger. I felt like they did a really good job. It was pretty much what I was hoping for in the long run. And if you haven't seen it, go see it. So that's just quick overview. And then I'll do spoiler talk because I'm sure most of you have already seen it. I think our listener base has probably seen it.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Any gripes?
I understand why they handled the first it's so long that I guess you say act.
It's 3 acts. First
Yes.
act,
So
second act,
I
third
understand
act.
why the first act was handled in the dealing with Thanos the way it was, right? I get it. The depiction of Thanos wearing shirts and cooking dinner wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan of that. Him living this domestic life now that he has snapped the fingers, brought the balance. I just thought it was a little weird.
I felt like it. To me, I depicted it as he's given up.
He's given up. He's
Like his
finally,
fight's over.
His fight's over. He's finally at peace. I just wasn't a big fan. I just wasn't a big fan of that depiction. But I understand. Like I said, I understand why it was done that way. I just wasn't a huge fan. They bust in, kill him. I thought that was dope.
First scene was
dope.
amazing, by the way. Both times with Hawkeye and his family.
Oh, yes, that was very well done.
First scene,
Yes.
absolutely perfect.
Very well done. I thought that it coming on that way is
set the
what I
tone.
wanted. It's what I wanted. It made sense. Hawkeye was so BA in this entire movie. I thought he was, it's interesting. I think his character grew the most in this film out of any of the other films.
I need a side Ronin story. Like, I need the story of him hunting down cartel
Be cool.
and Yakuza and then sitting in that chair getting that sleeve. Like,
Well,
I need that.
I think that would be dope. I think that would be really dope. I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Disney Plus. The talk is that there's a Hawkeye, him training his daughter to be Hawkeye. The talk is that could be a show on Disney Plus, and maybe you can do that. But then as he's training her, he's having flashbacks of that Yakuza. That'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
Be kind of Arrow-ish, but that'd be cool. Yeah, I thought overall they did a good job. I think that
Second time pacing felt long
did it.
for me.
Second time it went faster for me.
Really. I
Yeah.
fell asleep.
Really?
No joke. Caught myself, woke up.
Second time, I was really into the writing of this, and I wanted to listen to every bit of dialogue that I might have missed. On Sunday, I wanted to listen to everything, every bit of dialogue. So I was like really dialed in. But you talking about gripes that I'm thinking of. This is gonna sound rude, but I feel like they made Captain Marvel too OP. In a sense,
That's what she is. That's the unfortunate part.
that's totally get it. But again, I'm not a Superman fan either. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like characters that have very little like flaws to their superninity. It's hard for me
Right.
sometimes to wrap my brain around. The headbutt scene was sick. At the end, though, that was pretty hard. But the fact that she walked in, put him in a headlock first thing, and you're just kind of like, okay, like,
You got me.
yeah. And
I thought it was funny how she's not as smart as she thinks she is because he headbutted her. Didn't work. Thanos was like, all right, well, I can still throw you. And he literally
Yeah.
just spun around and chucked her.
I will say though that her arrival to the fight at the end was better than Thor's arrival in Infinity War in Wakanda for me. I liked it more.
I say no only because of the music.
The music was sick. The music was better, I think, in the Wakanda fight.
Yeah.
But the guns looking up at the sky, where are they shooting
That
at?
was cool.
You knew she was coming, but you didn't know when.
I actually didn't know who it was at first. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, duh.
I knew it was because the whole time I'm waiting, I'm like, yo, she just put homie in a stranglehold in the first act and she's nowhere to be found. She's the only one missing that can right this ship. So
yeah, that was all good. My favorite I love the way that they did Black Widow and Hawkeye. Absolutely great scene with them fighting with each other.
That's sick. Yeah, I thought that was sick. I didn't like the aftermath of it. I felt like they brushed by it, like really.
I think it was because they had
really
to.
quick.
The movie was long, dude.
I would have been okay.
I was watching from an editing standpoint.
I would have been okay.
The only couple of scenes,
shorting it.
The only couple of scenes though that I saw to shorten it was Captain America when they showed 5 years later, Captain America talking with the people. That scene wasn't necessary. The scene where you could have cut down finding Thor.
Yeah, I agree. That's where I would have done it too.
A lot of just very small cuts. The only big chunk was literally him talking to the people about, what's life like after 5 years. That was the only part where you really didn't need it for the story at all.
I just needed a little bit more of a sense of closure. It almost felt like, and the reason I say that is because of the her and Hulk buildup. He got mad through the chair. They had the cool scene of them going above and him dropping to a knee. I thought that was dope when he found out, but I needed a little more despair from them. But the actual fight of them and then the way that she died, I'm cool with. I'm totally cool with that.
I kind of wish it was, instead of him throwing a chair, he's got it balanced, but it would have been cool to see the Hulk side come out a little bit more. Like, what if he jumped into the forest and then you just see trees being chucked all over the place?
So, spoiler alert, not really spoiler alert for you guys, for Dobie, because you left our friend's house the other night before we were able to talk about it. But Brandon and Alicia did not like the film. And one of the reasons why they didn't like it was because Hulk wasn't Hulk. So that goes to what you're saying. You know what I mean? That factors in what you're saying. There was no Hulk freak out moment. So I definitely get that. I get that argument. I get it would have been cool to see him. And that's what I mean.
Just
especially in that
because
moment.
Of the emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
I actually didn't have a problem with him being the Hulk. I felt like it made sense to his character.
I thought it did too.
If you look back on the seasons, there was literally just Hulk, no Banner, then Banner, no Hulk. And then he literally said, I needed to figure out how and understand, this is who I am now. And that's what he became. And I felt like he accepted that, and that's who he was. And I felt like it fit. But in that moment, to be so emotionally distraught, I felt like it would have made a lot of sense to see that side of anger and emotion come out of him more. So that was just me.
Yeah.
Thor, I felt like was really funny. People were mad he didn't get fit again. But at the same time, I was like, it makes sense. I mean, he still had his moments or whatnot. And I felt like they set up Guardians of the Galaxy 3 very, very well. And I am super excited for that movie to have Chris Pratt and him literally go back and forth an entire movie. Sign me up.
I think that's really smart on the filmmaker's side to make Thor a part of the next Guardians film. I think that's extremely smart.
And then at the end of that movie, after it was all said and done, he said, I need to become who I am, not who I truly am, not who everybody expects me to be. And so to me, that was, I'm a goofy dude who likes to fight, but I don't like being a leader. And I felt like that's why his character more so has been fleshed out in Thor Ragnarok to fit very well with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm all good with it. I'm all good with Thor. I'm all good with Thor's depiction in this film. I thought it was hilarious.
Beers in the bucket.
The best part was Korg when he screams on the video game and he's talking. Yeah, he's yelling at me again. He's yelling at me again. Thor yells at him, and then in the background you hear very subtly, "Thank you, Thor.
Thank you, Thor.
Thank you, Thor." It's the funniest thing in the world to me. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
I still like when he's like, beers in the pockets.
Beers in the
buckets.
It's
no
free.
password, of course.
Of course. So good. So yeah, that finding Thor scene could have been cut down for sure, but that part was cool to me. I wasn't a fan of any of the Thor in the past though. Like him going to go see his mom could have been cut for me. Like I could have, it could have been cut way down. It just, I don't know. It was just cut. Some of the scenes leading up to with Nebula and War Machine on Morag. When they first got there, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. This is a drag down. I do like the way that Nebula was used in this. I felt like she was the silent linchpin of this film, and I thought that was cool.
I could see that for sure. Best part of the movie for me was definitely with Captain America grabbing
the sword, the hammer.
the hammer,
Yeah.
and literally whooped on.
That's something
Thanos.
that if you read the comics, you were like, all right, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? And I know I saw a lot of people thought it was gonna happen last film, but it didn't. And so when he brought the hammer back this time, I was like, okay. Like there's only one reason to. So when it happened, I was like, let's go.
Super hype moment.
Avengers
Super hype
Assemble, that part got chills. When he said Avengers Assemble.
Watching that scene again and then seeing them all run, I got goosebumps.
Chills.
I mean,
chills.
hands down the end fight. I got, again, like I was holding it. I was like so emotional thinking of all these different memories, seeing all the characters come out. That's, I mean, the last hour of the movie is great.
Last act is amazing. Him getting everyone together and the yelling Avengers Assemble. Like 9 through 11-year-old Malky like jumped out of my body and was like freaking out. It's everything that a young person that was into cartoons and comics and superheroes like. It was everything.
I felt like it was very smart too. The time travel, say what you want about it, but then going back to points of their own stories everywhere.
Beautiful.
To pay homage to the history of Avengers.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. Some people didn't like it, I read, because it was they thought it was like self-serving, but I thought it was really cool.
It's called fan service.
I thought it was really cool. Actually, my favorite part of the entire movie was Captain America versus Captain America. That whole scene I thought was just done.
I could do this all day.
Yeah, I know. It was just
I know.
It's just so good. Like it was that whole part of the film, my favorite part of the film.
My favorite joke of the whole thing, because it made me laugh the most twice, was you look like melted ice cream. Rocket is great. I felt like that was the best joke. I know most people like America's ass line.
America's ass line was hilarious. I thought that was funny.
I do love Ant-Man in this movie because he's the only one who hasn't experienced all of this stuff, like extraterrestrial stuff and space travel. And so him experiencing it all for the first time is really funny. Just small details, like when Thor was going over that the power or whatever stone it was, and he was giving his story.
That was the funniest part for me.
And then he's going over like dark elves. Ooh.
And it's like, yeah.
And then you look at, so everybody, it pans to every person. They're rolling their eyes. They're looking down. Hulk is going, no, like cut it off. And then it goes to Ant-Man and he's shaking his head, yes, like eyes wide open, like, wow, yeah, okay. And it just, to me, I felt like that was just a really good attention to detail moment.
Yeah. And in that scene, I think it's really hard in these big blockbuster superhero movies to call stuff good acting, because there's people like, oh, stuff blows up. Like, where's the Oscar-worthy performances? This is going to sound weird. Chris Hemsworth being able to be that Thor and be funny, and like that whole part where he was like, and she was an old flame of mine, and actually and my mother died, and like that's great acting.
Yeah,
like it's really funny. Like it's great comedic acting. His timing is really good. So
I felt like that was great.
How'd you feel about Barton killing a lot of people and then like them just being in the fold with him and like no one really saying anything after the fact about it? Like it was just kind of like, oh, that happened. Like, but the Avengers didn't really care. Like they didn't really say anything about it. Natasha was like, I mean, you shouldn't be doing this, but
I think it was one, he was killing bad guys, but two, they're
Yeah.
like, we're trying to save the world and we trust you
It's a
to know
bigger
that you're
thing.
going to do the right thing. Honestly, just like Game of Thrones episode 2, Jaime Lannister's there and he's like, I don't give a crap. We need whoever we can get.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I take it.
Yeah.
And then two, it just showed his commitment because immediately when they're like, let's test it, and he's like, I'm doing it. Like, you know, so they knew he was down to clown.
Yeah.
And plus he had security clearance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What else can we? So how do you feel? Let's talk another moment when everybody was brought back. I love the Spider-Man, Tony Stark. Tony did excellent in this movie.
Robert Downey Jr. is the GOAT. He's great.
Absolutely
Loved it.
love the scene with him and Pepper on the couch when he, you know, he wants to tell everybody he's asking her. Like seeing it a second time, that set piece in their home, that was actually a perfect movie. Writing,
little girl and him.
script,
Perfect.
everything about it.
Yeah.
Both times I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah.
I felt like the actors did amazing. Love You 3000. I love how they thought. I don't know if that was if somebody wrote that in the show or if that. I don't know if that was just a thing.
I don't know if it's true, but someone said that like 22 films is like close to 3,000 hours of watching, and that's why they say that. But I don't know if it's true.
I thought it was. He said, "Love you tons. Tons is 2,000 pounds." She said, "I love you 3,000."
Yeah, I don't know. I read on Twitter that people were like, "Oh, 3,000 hours is close to what it would be like for 22 films," and they added that as an Easter egg. But I don't know how true that is. Now, if that's true, that's sick.
Nuts.
That's
Yeah.
sick writing.
But you know, and just her saying, he's like, you know, I can just get rid of it, and then and he's like, just lock it in a box, throw it in the bottom of the lake, and then go to bed. And she said, "But would you rest?"
Yeah.
And then the very last thing she says to him is, "You can rest now."
It was good. The funeral scene got me teared up. No streaks fell because I'm a thug, but overall, that scene was rough. I thought having the last person you see be Nick Fury was perfect. I don't think there's anyone else I'd want to see last. I think that him being the last one that it pans up to was absolutely perfect. Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Scene was sick.
It was, all of it was really good. To be fair though, I don't know how I feel about the Captain America scene with the time travel question.
The time travel question.
Because they said,
which one?
so he went back in time and there's
the
two
end.
Captain Americas the entire time.
So
And then you're trying to tell me like that doesn't affect his world
timeline.
at all? Like she doesn't die.
So
You know, that's what
I've read a bunch about this, and people are saying that it might. They call it a Dark Knight Rises plot hole. So you know how in Dark Knight Rises, do you remember how there's the one cop played by Jason Gordon-Levitt, and at the very end he's like turning in his badge saying he doesn't want to do this anymore. It's time to do something for my community by myself. And she was like, and what's it's your real name, Robin. But it's like, he said that, but his real name, like, that's not the Robin origin story. But it's this huge plot hole that they did just for like fans to feel some sense of relief that they put Robin in a film. And a lot of people are saying that this is one of those things we're not supposed to think about that much. Like, it's a huge plot hole, but they're just like, you know what? Just enjoy Kat being happy.
Yeah.
Is there someone outside?
Yeah, at that house.
Oh, it sounds like it's like right
I
here.
know.
Um,
They selling drugs.
you want some drugs?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's definitely a plot hole. What's weird is a lot of people think he went back, had it taken out of his veins, had the serum taken out of his veins, and then
He wasn't small though. He was just old.
I know he wasn't small. He was
And
he
let's
was
be for
small,
real.
but he was old.
She liked Cap because he had that bod.
Well, then also, I never watched Agent Carter when it was a TV show, but people are saying that like if he would have went back, that would have basically taken out a
would've ruined
lot
everything.
of events of Agent Carter. So
That's why I'm
It's a
saying
huge
I don't
plot
think
hole
it.
there.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
yeah,
That's what doesn't make sense to me. Unless he did, and that's what the vibe I got. It would have made more sense to me, is if something where I don't even know if you could do this, but he lived through that timeline and then went into the future again, almost like resetting it, like it didn't happen, but he experienced it.
oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Heel turn. He goes back and just kills himself.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Could
Okay.
do that.
So, I mean, it was fine. It was beautiful. I'll
Yeah,
say that.
great
But
film.
I'm here for it. I liked it. Top 5 for me. I'm going to have to slowly think this through.
Are you going 1 down or 5 up?
Hold on. I think. Iron Man's 5 for me.
Okay.
Iron Man's 5. For sure. Top 5, ladies and gentlemen. What about you? 5 for me is definitely Iron Man.
5 for me is going to be Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, I could see that. This is the hard one for me. I got to figure out how I feel about this one, because I know my top 3. But how do I feel about this little guy right here
I don't know.
on the side? I'll probably say Infinity War is probably 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Infinity War is 4 for me.
Okay. 4 for me is Endgame.
3 for me is Endgame.
Okay. 3 for me is Black Panther.
2 for me is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. You said 2 for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 for me then would be Civil War.
And number 1 is Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. Number 1 for me would be Winter Soldier. Captain America
See,
2.
and that's the funny thing about it, is because I know I haven't seen Winter Soldier in a long time. Civil War is good, but I mean, that was, to be fair, with the Marvel movies, I like them more jokey, just because that's what I expect. And so Civil War, I understand, is among the favorite of people, because let's be real, it's one of the most serious toned Marvel movies that's out there.
Love the elevator scene callback too.
Hell,
Oh my gosh. So good to him beating up everybody in the elevator. Civil War. Or not Civil War.
I really
but
thought he
Winter
was going to
Soldier.
beat up everybody. And that was a good little twist.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry.
Hell Hydra.
Hell, Hydra.
Yeah.
That
Shouts
was-
to that.
That was clean. Black Panther, I love. I mean, honestly, those 3 are like right down here. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I absolutely love still, because again, humor is important for me. Thor Ragnarok, great action sequences when they hit AC/DC and he gets his lightning powers on the bridge. That scene, absolutely epic.
I like Thor Ragnarok. I think it's
So,
cool.
and then I think Infinity War and Endgame did what I want. I can't wait to see them back to back.
Yeah.
like-
if you have a day. No,
Yeah.
But yeah. I haven't watched them back to back yet, obviously, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. To see how it feels like one entire segment. I'm sure that's actually, and like Chase said, our buddy, he said he thinks that's a perfect movie for him. Infinity War right into Endgame.
That's why Infinity War isn't in my top 5. I need it. I need it with the other one. Like I need
I
that
see what you're saying.
like it. I didn't like Infinity War as much as a lot of people, just because I don't do well with incomplete things. So yeah, I need it now. After I watch them back to back and the DVD comes out and whatnot, then I might feel better about Infinity War. But right now, it's hanging around 6 or 7 or something like that. But
Endgame was nuts.
the game is nuts. It's pretty crazy. Guys, that is our Avengers Endgame breakdown. Those are our thoughts on it. Daps_pounds. Tell us what you think. Now, we're going to move on to the other cultural event that happened. GOT, Game of Thrones.
Got talk.
Got talk.
First off,
Battle.
did you have issues with your television? It being too dark?
Yeah, it was dark. It was really dark.
It was too dark for you?
It was really dark.
Okay.
That's one of my gripes. It was really dark. I wanted it to be a daytime fight. I figured it wasn't going to be, just because if you watched last episode, you know, it was nighttime when it ended, so you figured it was going to be. But I wanted it to like slowly become
You wanted a
morning,
dusk or dawn
Yeah,
fight.
I wanted it to slowly become dawn, and it didn't happen. It was pretty dark.
Zero issues for us.
It might have mattered what type of TV you were watching it on, but again, I think that is an error on the production side. I think
He's
you
stand
need
behind
to make
what
it.
he said too. By the way, he said he said a lot of people don't know how to tune their TVs properly. Quote.
See, here's the thing. I don't care, guy. I don't care about tuning my TV. I don't want to have to tune. Gotta watch Game of Thrones.
So
Might
do
have
you
this
think they
dark
should have
episode.
just not done the Blizzard then?
I just think it should have been Dawn. I just think Dawn would have been better altogether.
But even with the Blizzard,
so now I mean the Blizzard was hard to see as well, but it was.
I think that makes it dark.
I just wasn't a fan of the darkness of it.
Right.
That being said, as I squinted, it was good. Like I liked it. I thought that the red woman coming was sick. Thought she was cool. It was just a BA episode. I will say that I just read this thing though, how it's the lowest rated episode of since 2015 or something, and the second lowest rated episode of the entire show.
I say it's the
so
most
far.
controversial.
Well, I mean, ranked as far as like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that.
Which is terrible because I actually felt like it was a masterpiece.
There were parts of
Personally.
it that were masterpiece-ish. I think that there's a lot that they could have done. I just wanted people to die that meant something. Although I will say that for what I think could possibly happen / what I want to happen, there was one important death, and that's Jorah. I think that his death, while it may seem insignificant right now, could be the thing that makes her turn.
Ooh.
Like, you got to set that up.
Ooh.
Because there's some people that are still like, her and Jon are in love and blah, blah, blah. But first, you give us the setup of last episode, him coming to her, begging to let Tyrion stay on as her hand, and her looking at him like, there was times that she looked at him and she was just like, you're really good. Like, you know what I mean? You almost got vibes last episode of like her feeling like, sometimes I overlook Jorah, but he might have been the guy I should have been with when he confessed his love for me, basically. And there's times where you got that vibe last episode. So I think that if she's going to do a heel turn and she's going to go full on
Between Jon and Jorah.
right, there's got to be something triggering.
Yeah.
So him dying in her arms could be the thing that makes her go like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? So I think that that's a death that might seem small to a lot of people right now, but if she turns, it could be part of her story.
I expect a lot of people still to die before
Yes,
this
I do
series
too.
is over.
I do too.
I understand the stakes that people, and I heard that's a big complaint where it was like most people felt like they had plot armor, but I feel like in the grand scheme of things, for them to have won this war, they had to have some sort of luck. So that's kind of where I put it towards. Somebody said with Jon's character, they're like, tell me what's any different of Jon's character. He's literally sucked at everything he's done, failed at everything he's done, had poor planning with everything he's done, and literally has just gotten lucky with everything. And I like look back on this series and I was thinking, holy crap, you're right. He literally hasn't done anything right.
Yeah, Jon can die anytime for me. I like him. I know that sounds like I don't like him. But sometimes people you like have to die. And I'm okay with Jon dying.
I thought they were going to kill Sam.
I thought they were going to kill Sam too.
Thought they were going to kill Sam. For the big characters to mean something, I actually am glad Brienne and Jaime are still alive because there's so much more to their story that can go through with this. And then I can't wait with Jaime and Cersei because going through that, I think is changing him completely. He's going to do, he's made the turn, but now I think after experiencing that war and Cersei not helping them experiencing that and him being there, seeing the death and everything, that's going to change him forever.
I I agree with you.
So
I
I
think that's fine.
So out of the people who I think maybe could have died, like
Samuel Talikov.
what's his name? The Brienne of Tar's assistant.
Oh, yeah.
He could have died.
Yeah.
But you couldn't kill off too many people because there's 3 episodes left, and then it would have been.
I just needed a little bit more significant deaths. But like I said, after I had time to reflect on the Jorah thing, I thought initially when I first got done watching the episode, I was like, no one important died. But the Jorah death, I think, may prove to be a little more important than it's letting on right now. But again, I would have liked for one of the 3 in the triangle of Tormund, Brienne, and Jaime to die.
See, and what's funny is
one,
but
just
you
one
still,
right now.
even after that episode, you still don't feel like everybody's safe.
No, I don't feel like everyone's safe, but it's kind of like we got to wait, right? Like we got to wait to see what happens to put some of these people that are foot soldiers, like Brienne's assistant, like Brienne, like Tormund. What's gonna put them in such harm's way? We know it's coming, right? But like now we got to wait and see as to
Elephants.
where it would have made. Yeah, it would have made a lot of sense for them to die, like some of the foot soldiers that were important to die in a battle that they are accustomed to or is battling.
You're not, out of people that I've heard that don't like the episode, it's like there wasn't enough deaths. One guy said he was bored. Were you bored?
No, I wasn't bored.
He literally said he was bored and he couldn't understand what was going on. And I was like, well, I mean, part of it you're not. I felt like the cinematography in this was excellent, maybe for parts that you could see or not, but like just the idea of Melisandre lighting the Dothraki swords.
That was cool.
One, people are like, why would they do that? Blah, blah, blah. You have to understand the Dothraki they're not afraid of anything. 2, they don't really, the only person they've ever listened to is Daenerys. And in that moment, they got hyped up and they charged. They always do what they did. They just faced the enemy head on. And for the first time ever, they got scared seeing what was on the other side of it. I loved, did you watch the 40-minute behind the documentary?
I watched like half of it.
So the director says he says for a battle that is this long, it has to go into different phases and be shot stylistically different so that you're not bored. He said the first half is a drama, second half with like Arya and stuff is a horror. So that's why it felt like in the library it was like a horror stylistic movie. So then it went from a horror movie, and then he says the last bit is an action movie. Yeah. And I could definitely see that. And I felt like he even said that in the very beginning you couldn't see the enemy because he says the biggest thing with cinematography, when you don't see the enemy in front of you, that's the scariest enemy. And so that kind of made sense. The blizzard coming through was nuts. I
felt like the dragon fight was a little pointless or could have been cut.
I watched it. So there's somebody, I would rewatch it. So on Reddit, somebody posted it. He says, brightened it up and slowed it down so you can see what's going on. And when you watch it, there's a lot of details in it. And you're like, dang, that was pretty crazy. Once you see how it all unfolds.
I can believe that.
I actually like the dragon fight, so.
What else? Yeah, I thought the library scene was amazing. I thought that was sick.
Yeah, and then that scene where Arya was fighting, like literally just hacking off heads left and right was
pretty dope. Pretty dope. She used her boy's tool, his weapon. That was sick. Let's see what else there was.
How'd you feel about the girl dying?
Little girl?
Yeah.
Oh, I was fine with it. Die.
What would have been the perfect, realistically? I actually do feel like you would have absolutely loved if the movie was about the Night King and he doesn't say a word to anybody. And
1,000%.
And he literally just kills all of humanity.
1,000%. 1,000%. And then the directors come out and say there's no more episodes. That's just it. Greatest. You have to remember. I come from The Sopranos ending on people rushing into the diner and you don't know what's going to happen, and it goes black, and everyone's pissed, and I'm like, that was amazing. amazing. Because you're just like, what's happening? I don't know. It's been great. But
I would have had to see Cersei die. Cersei needs to die.
yeah. Cersei does.
So what's the realistic, like, would you have appreciated almost everybody dying then? And like
I would have appreciated...
Because then I feel like that's boring if you're the remaining...
Well, I would have appreciated one from every...
sect, almost.
Yes, living. And one dying. So Grey Worm's girl or Grey Worm can die, right? Of like that mix of the Hound, the Fire Sword guy, and everything, one of those live, right? Of Jamie and Brienne,
because we have to have him.
Which that's gonna be
epic,
different.
I can't wait for that.
That's the Hound
versus the Mountain. Yeah, I'm so hyped for that.
Different. That's gonna. I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad you lived for that. But yeah. Brienne, Jamie, one of them dead. Like I would have been cool if they march on to Westeros. Is that what it's called?
Landing.
King's Landing, sorry. If they march on to King's Landing as people that at one time either hated each other or didn't know each other or didn't, and these are the strongest of the sects coming together, going and saying, Cersei, we've killed the Night King. We did it without you, and now we're killing you. Just would have been cool. I was super happy to see the Mormont, I think that's how you say it, that house die. No more of those.
I feel like the girl would have been a good death.
Which girl? The little girl?
With Grey Worm's girl.
That would have been a good
because
death.
then Grey Worm goes back to his like old shell of a self and just gets...
For selfish reasons, I would rather have Grey Worm just because she's the prettiest girl on the show, and I need that because she's hot. Yeah, man, it was an epic episode. I wanted more from the Night King as far as the way they built him.
You didn't want the smoke from Jon.
And you're absolutely right, but like they've done that with Vader sometimes too. Star Wars has. Where it's like they make him like this big supreme guy, and when it comes down to the thing, they like take the easy way out. And from a writing standpoint, I'm saying, like, come on, like make him truly BA. And it's just rough.
I mean, he didn't. The thing is, mainly he always had his goons do the stuff for him. You never really saw him fight the entire show. I do feel
the
like
spear joint he did that by himself, I guess.
Yeah, that's about it. And then killing Theon, which was a great scene too, by the way. Bran saying you're a good
I don't feel
man.
bad for people out there. You like Theon again, right?
I felt like it was a good character. I could care less about the character after everything that he did, but I appreciated his character arc for where he went, and then him literally being broken down, slowly being built back up.
So I completely get that. But for me personally, last episode, Jamie should have volunteered to watch him. You disabled this little boy because you want to be a freak McNasty with your sister. You watch him, you die. Because that is his true penance. He's finally dying in a way after he's protecting the kid that he disabled.
Oh, yeah.
It just would have been like this thing. Like it would have been...
It's going to be worth it when Jamie kills Cersei.
I guess. I just would wanted him to die trying to protect the kid.
That would have been a great little story, but I really do think he's going to be the one to kill. It's either he's killing Cersei or Arya in her...
different face.
Yeah. Is going to be the one to kill her.
Be cool.
So I'll be interested in that. Definitely, though, I felt like the scene with the Night King getting dragonfire blown on him and the smirk. Cool. Felt BA. The thing was, he was cocky. He was a cocky little SOB.
I'll tell you something. Him, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Ayo coming around the corner during the piano, fam. That's like one of the coolest slow motions that I've ever seen. G-Unit coming around the corner. Ice G-Unit coming around the corner. And he just looks so cool. And they just... God, I love villains, dude. They're so cool.
Yeah.
They're so much better. Oh.
Now we get a very realistic Cersei as a villain, who honestly it has been the greatest villain if you really want to think about it. No one likes Cersei. You don't even really like Cersei.
No, I will say that she is a villain that I don't like.
That's a terrifying villain.
Yeah, I don't like Cersei.
But Arya coming out of the woodwork, and then when you start seeing the connections all the way back from like season 3, that's pretty impressive.
And for George R.R. Martin, I think that's his name, to not be writing these episodes, but yet them be able to carry on and pick up on things from old seasons and
well,
stuff.
they said they spoke for 30 hours plus.
That's amazing.
About the ending because they wanted to do it justice. And then so I watched an interview from them that the reason why the HBO writers got the show was because they were the only ones that fully pretty much read the books, because George R.R. Martin, they were talking about stuff, and he says that he finished the steak, folded his napkin, he looks at them, and he said, "Who do you think Jon Snow's true mother is?" And that was like the test. And so for me, I think he's given them enough faith to complete the work, and I appreciate the fact that they sat down with him. I do expect the books to be somewhat different in some areas because, as everybody knows, there's just so many details and side character stories that you can add to add depth to everything. But I think this is staying true to a lot of it. And so I was cool with it personally because I've never screamed more at a television set when I thought she was dead. No joke. Right when she came in and he caught her,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I thought she was dead.
When you hear the cracking sound of her neck, kinda, I got so happy. I was like, yes, yes, he's gonna kill her, and he's gonna kill Bran. I thought I was getting what I wanted, but it was really dope. The whole drop the knife thing, the callback to her and Brienne fighting, and like. That was a very gratifying, satisfying moment.
And also, too, that dagger is actually in the books that Sam looked in the Citadel. So there could be something more behind that dagger, as well as the people apparently are saying the only reason why, too, that they were able to kill him there is because he was by the werewood tree, where he originally got his powers from.
Is that in the book or is that in the TV show? Because I've seen a lot of people talk about the Night King and have a lot of information that's from the books, and in like that's where I am. That's my only gripe, is that I want more information on the Night King, because you build him up to be this huge force that from episode 1 you're terrified of, and to kill him without going into his background, which I haven't lost faith in the show. I think there's still time to go back and make me happy. But to kill him without, like...
What if there was a twist and he's really not dead? And then, like...
I'd be happy.
That'd be nuts.
A lot of people I saw, like, wanted Ned to come out in the crypt, and I was like, but he doesn't have a head.
So from what I understand, I think next episode is setting up the battle between everybody and Cersei. And then episode 5 is going to be the battle against that. And then episode 6 is just the resolution and the finale of everything. I expect a twist somewhere still, though.
I think that it was smart to destroy most of Winterfell, because wherever people go, I feel like it forces them to go there in a group, right? And if you go there in a group, things are going to get really tense as far as who runs what.
Well,
so
in the previews, Daenerys seems to still be taking charge of things. Something's going to slip and somebody's going to say something, and I think what it is Sansa's going to find out who the true king is, and then she's going to use that to her advantage, saying like...
She doesn't know? Didn't Samwell tell her or no?
No.
Brand new?
Bran and Sam are the only ones.
Okay.
Bran, Sam, Jon, and now Daenerys are the only 4 who know. And so, and he doesn't want the power, though. It's always been that way. But someone's going to figure out.
That's until he really turns and he goes, you Guys,
Gosh,
disrespected
dang
me.
it, not again.
He just kills everyone.
No.
What if he kills everyone and goes, Circe, me and you, baby, let's get married
I'd actually.
and let's run the Seven Kingdoms.
I'd absolutely
Best
be
show ever.
furious.
Guys, we have talked about Avengers Endgame. We have talked about Game of Thrones, or as I like to call it, in Game of Thrones. We have talked about new music that dropped. We hope that you loved it all. And now we're going to close out the show the only way we know how. That's 101 conversation starters for couples.
Sometimes being together is fun, but being alone can be fun too. So,
That's the truth.
what are some things you like to do alone?
Oh, man. Documentaries. I hate watching documentaries with people.
Really?
I love
didn't know
watching
that about you.
movies with people, but docs, when I'm learning, I don't want to talk to you. Just let me learn, my G. What about you?
I read manga alone.
Okay.
And then I think like certain creative aspects. When I was editing videos and things of that nature, I like to do that alone. I like to just zone in, listen to music, or dial in, do that. So nothing crazy over there. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you like to do alone? Hit us up, Daps_pounds, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. That's all, folks. We hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful time listening to this episode. Daps_pounds, like Dobie just said. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Rate, subscribe, like, and share. All right?
Share.
We thank you guys so much. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. My name is Malky. To my left, we have
Dobie.
We represent 2 mics
Two friends.
and 1 show.
The Daps and Pounds Show.
Shout to the shout out. Gang, gang, gang.